The silver ship descended through Earth's atmosphere with barely a sound. It was 3 times larger than the biggest human spacecraft ever built. People across the globe watched on screens as it settled gently in the middle of the neutral meeting zone prepared in Geneva. John Miller adjusted his formal uniform and took a deep breath. As Earth's lead diplomat, he would be the first human to speak with aliens face to face. The weight of humanity rested on his shoulders. "Ready?" Kate Wright asked beside him. Her eyes showed excitement beneath her professional demeanor. As the team's xenobiologist, she had waited her whole life for this moment. "As ready as anyone can be to meet aliens," John replied with a small smile. His calm voice hid the storm of thoughts inside. 20 years in the Navy had taught him to keep a level head in unprecedented situations. This was certainly unprecedented. The ship's side opened smoothly, revealing a ramp. Light spilled out from inside. 3 tall figures emerged, walking with perfect coordination. They looked almost like praying mantises but stood upright on 2 legs. Their green exoskeletons gleamed in Earth's sunlight. "Greetings, humans of Earth." The center figure spoke in perfect English. "I am Ambassador Ziv Tar of the Galactic Council. We have watched your species with great interest." The first meeting lasted 6 hours. The Council representatives explained that they governed over 12 advanced species across the galaxy. They offered humans membership with conditions. Later that night, John paced in the secure meeting room where Earth's leaders had gathered. "They want us to share all our technology, but forbid us from expanding beyond our solar system for 2 centuries, he summarized. "They say it's standard procedure for new species." President Lewis frowned. "What's your assessment, Miller?" John chose his words carefully. "They're hiding something. The ambassador speaks with respect, but I noticed the others watching us like we're lab specimens." Kate nodded in agreement. Their biological assessment classified humans as emotionally erratic but technologically promising. "They think our emotions are primitive." "Primitive," General Rivera scoffed. "Our emotions drove us to survive ice ages and build civilizations from dirt." The meetings continued for weeks. The Council representatives showed humans stunning technology, ships that traveled faster than light, medicine that could cure almost any disease, energy sources that made fusion look like fire from sticks. But something bothered John more each day. The Council treated humans like clever children. When he asked difficult questions about Council politics or military history, Ambassador Ziv Tar would change the subject with practiced smoothness. One evening, John found the ambassador alone on the observation deck, looking at Earth's moon. "Beautiful satellite you have," Ziv Tar said. "So close to your planet." "Unusual." "Many things about Earth are unusual," John replied, "including its people." The alien turned, compound eyes reflecting moonlight. "Indeed, your species adapts remarkably well. Most species take thousands of years to achieve what you have in mere centuries. Is that why the Council is interested in us?" A slight movement in the ambassador's antennae. Surprise, perhaps. "The Council welcomes all developing species, with 200 years of restrictions," John noted. "For your protection." "From what?" The ambassador turned back to the window. "The galaxy is not always kind to young species. The Council provides stability and guidance." As John walked away, he noticed something in the ambassador's posture, a subtle rigidity that wasn't there before. Years of diplomatic training had taught him to read body language across cultures. This was fear, carefully controlled. When Earth signed the Council membership agreement 3 months later, the ceremony was broadcast across the planet. Many celebrated, some protested. Most simply watched in wonder as humanity officially joined a galactic community. That night, John met with Kate and a small group of trusted officials. "They're afraid of us," Kate said. "Their scientific reports classify our brain structure as unpredictably innovative. And they've stationed observation posts throughout our system," added Intelligence Officer Alan Summers. "Not protection. Surveillance." John looked at the document he had signed today. The council thought themselves superior, offering protection while hiding their fears behind diplomatic smiles. "We'll play along," he decided. For now. None of them realized then that the council's greatest mistake wasn't in underestimating human technology or resilience. It was in misunderstanding human instinct, the ability to recognize a trap and silently plan an escape. 5 years passed since Earth joined the Galactic Council. On the surface, the partnership seemed successful. Council technology helped clean Earth's environment. New medicines saved millions of lives. Humans established larger colonies on Mars and Europa with alien engineering. But beneath the surface, trust was breaking. Kate Wright stared at her lab results in disbelief. The council medical team had requested blood samples from 10,000 humans for what they called compatibility studies. But Kate had secretly analyzed their research. They weren't studying compatibility. They were studying human DNA at a level far beyond what they had disclosed. She needed to tell someone she trusted. Alan Summers entered the lab after hours, looking over his shoulder. As head of Earth's intelligence division working with the council, he had access to restricted areas. "You were right to call me," he said after Kate showed him her findings. "I found something too." Alan placed a small device on the table that projected a holographic document. Council Security Classification Reports. Humans were listed as Potential Destabilizing Force, Category 1. "There are only 3 species in Category 1, Alan explained, "and the other 2 are listed as Contained." Kate felt cold. "They're studying us to find weaknesses." "I think it's worse." Alan swiped to another document. "I found this in their military database. They're analyzing Earth's war history with special interest in our adaptability under pressure." Over the next week, they gathered more evidence. Council ships regularly sent large data packages about humans back to their homeworlds. Research priorities focused on human stress responses, emotional bonding patterns, and combat innovations. Kate and Alan brought their findings to John Miller, who had continued as Earth's main representative to the Council. His office was regularly swept for listening devices, making it one of the few safe places to talk. "I suspected something like this," John said, reviewing their evidence. "The council representatives become uncomfortable whenever humans advance faster than their projections." "But why the interest in our military history?" Kate asked. Before John could answer, his secure communication device signaled. It was Olivia Chen, a human who worked directly with council officials as a liaison. "I need to meet you. Now." Her voice was tense. "And only people you completely trust." They met an hour later in a secure room beneath the diplomatic building. Olivia looked pale, her hands shaking slightly. "I was translating for a private council meeting," she began. "They didn't realize I could understand their secondary communication clicks. Most translators miss them." She played a recording. The clicks and chirps meant nothing to John and the others, but Olivia translated. Grand Minister Xeltor said, "The humans develop too quickly. Their emotional responses make them unpredictable, but potentially useful against the coming threat." Another council member argued that humans should be properly conditioned before deployment. "They're planning to use us for something." The room fell silent. John finally spoke. "We need more information." "Alan, can you get someone inside their main research facility?" Alan nodded. "I have a few people who could do it." 3 days later, they had their answer. Alan's operative had accessed the council's secure files. The truth was worse than they imagined. The galaxy faced an unknown enemy at its edges, something the council feared. Their scientists had determined that human adaptability and emotional responses, the very traits the council dismissed as primitive, might make humans effective fighters against this threat. The council planned to use humans as frontline soldiers while keeping advanced technology from them. "They never intended to treat us as equals," John said as they reviewed the evidence. "We're tools to them, weapons they're shaping for their war." "What do we do?" Kate asked. "Confront them." John shook his head. They'd deny everything. We need a different approach. He stared at the star map showing Council territory. If they want to study human ingenuity, let's show them what they're really dealing with. No one in the room realized they were starting something that would change the galaxy forever. The humans would not fight the Council directly. They would simply walk away, and the Council would learn too late what they had lost. The old mining tunnel beneath Denver had been abandoned for decades. Now it hummed with activity. Sam Jackson wiped sweat from his forehead as he made final adjustments to the energy shield prototype. As Earth's leading physicist, he had been recruited for the most important scientific work in human history. "Is it ready?" Diana Evans asked. Once a respected diplomat to the Council, she now coordinated Earth's silent rebellion. "Almost," Sam replied. "This technology shouldn't be possible according to what the Council has shared with us. Their scientists said energy shields of this design were theoretical at best." Diana smiled. They underestimated human creativity. This underground facility was one of 50 spread across Earth and the asteroid belt. While the Council watched official research labs, these hidden sites worked on technologies the aliens never thought humans could develop. On the other side of the vast room, engineers tested engines that could travel faster than the Council's fastest ships. Medical researchers developed cures for diseases the Council claimed were centuries beyond human understanding. Computer specialists created encryption the Council couldn't break. All in secret, all while smiling at Council representatives above ground. In orbit around Jupiter, Greg Martinez floated inside a maintenance shaft on a Council administrative station. As a human janitor, he was practically invisible to the alien officials. They never suspected he was Earth's deepest spy. Greg carefully placed a tiny device on the station's main communication array. It would copy all messages between Council worlds without detection. He had spent years earning his position here through perfect service and practiced deference. "Just a simple human," he would say with a bow when Council members passed. They never looked twice. Back on Earth, John Miller met with the heads of humanity's covert operation in an underground bunker beneath the Atlantic Ocean. "The Council is growing suspicious," John reported. "They've increased surveillance on official research centers. They're monitoring communications more closely." "Let them watch the official channels," Diana said. "Our real messages travel through their own networks now. Thanks to Greg, we can hide our communications inside their routine data transfers." Sam activated a holographic display showing Earth's secret progress. "We've perfected the shield technology. The prototype ships are ready for testing beyond Council scanning range." "What about the population preparation?" John asked. Diana nodded to another official who brought up population statistics. 80% of Earth's people now understand the situation through our secure network. They're ready to move when the time comes." "And the other colonies?" "Mars is fully prepared. Europa at 90%. The mining colonies in the asteroid belt are all with us." John looked at the faces around him, the best minds humanity had to offer. For 3 years, they had built an invisible resistance right under the Council's watchful eyes. "The Council thinks they understand humans," John said. "They study our wars, our conflicts. But they miss what truly makes us dangerous. Our ability to cooperate," Diana finished his thought. "Exactly. They expect rebellion to look like confrontation. They're prepared for that. They're not prepared for us to simply disappear." Across the solar system, humans continued their double lives. To Council observers, they appeared to be developing as expected, following the approved path under alien guidance. But in secret tunnels, hidden asteroids, and underwater bases, they prepared for the greatest feat of human ingenuity ever attempted. On the Council administrative station, a junior officer reported an anomaly to his superior. "The humans are developing faster than projected in certain scientific fields." "Impossible," the superior replied. "Their labs show expected progress rates. But power consumption patterns on Earth show spikes in unexplained areas. Monitor it. But don't concern yourself too much with humans. They remain centuries behind our advancement. The superior returned to his other duties, dismissing the concerns. Like most council officials, he believed humans were easy to control, primitive creatures who could be guided with simple rewards and restrictions. It would be the council's greatest mistake. In the shadow of their arrogance, humanity prepared to teach the galaxy a lesson about underestimating the human spirit. The council chamber buzzed with nervous energy. The 12 representatives sat around the circular table, their diverse alien forms tense with concern. At the center stood a hologram showing unusual energy readings across the human solar system. Their development has accelerated beyond our models, said Steltor, the shark-like Grand Minister. They have been experimenting with restricted technologies. The eldest council member, Trevok, shifted his ancient turtle-like body forward. Perhaps we should reconsider our approach to humans. Their adaptability is precisely why they must be controlled. Exceltor interrupted. The Council has guided galactic development for 10,000 years. We will not allow an emotional young species to disrupt the balance. The Council voted. The decision was made. On Earth, President Elizabeth Harris received the Council's message in the White House. John Miller and the other resistance leaders stood beside her as the hologram of Exceltor delivered the Council's ultimatum. Humanity has violated the terms of membership by researching forbidden technologies. You will surrender all independent research facilities and accept permanent Council oversight, or face protective containment. The alien's black eyes showed no emotion. You have 3 days to comply. The transmission ended. The room remained silent for a long moment. Protective containment, Elizabeth finally asked. House arrest for our entire species, John explained. They would restrict all space travel and place permanent monitoring stations throughout our system. Paul Bennett, Earth's military strategist, stepped forward. They've already moved ships into position. Scans showed 20 vessels at the edge of our system. Elizabeth sat at her desk, seeming to age years in minutes. Can we fight them? Not directly, Paul answered. Their military technology is still beyond ours. But we don't need to fight, John said. Everything is ready. We just need to give the order earlier than planned. Elizabeth looked at each face in the room. These people had worked tirelessly for years, preparing humanity's greatest gamble. How many will we lose? Diana Evans consulted her datapad. Maybe 30% of the population won't make it out. Some need to stay behind anyway, to maintain the illusion. The president stood and walked to the window. Outside, people moved through their daily lives, unaware that the next 3 days would determine humanity's future. Do it, she said. 12 hours later, Elizabeth stood before cameras to address the world. Her speech was carefully crafted to seem conciliatory, while containing coded instructions that would trigger humanity's greatest operation. We have always valued our place in the galactic community, she said, looking directly into the camera. The Council's guidance has helped us grow. While we may have shown too much initiative in some areas, we remain committed to peaceful cooperation. She paused, then spoke the key phrase. It's time for humanity to take a step back and reflect on our proper place among the stars. Across the solar system, those words activated emergency protocols. In homes, workplaces, and public spaces, people calmly began their assigned tasks. There was no panic, no mad rush, just the methodical execution of a plan years in the making. On the Council Administrative Station, Council Elder Travak watched recordings of human broadcasts with growing concern. The humans accepted our terms too easily, he told his aide. Their history shows they resist control. Something is wrong. Our analysts say they have no choice, the aide replied. Our ships can destroy their defenses in hours. Travak's ancient eyes narrowed. You misunderstand humans. I have studied them more deeply than others. When cornered, they become most dangerous. They are simply primitive. No, Travak interrupted. Their emotions make them unpredictable. Their history shows they prefer death to submission. This compliance is wrong. He turned to the window, gazing toward the distant point of light that was Earth. They're planning something. I can feel it. In orbit around Neptune, far beyond Council's scanning range, the first massive human ships silently powered up their engines. Completely hidden from alien detection, they began moving toward Earth. The exodus was about to begin. Night fell across Earth as billions of people moved with quiet purpose. Families gathered only what they could carry. No one took furniture or large possessions, just memories, data, and essential items. Children were told they were going on an adventure. Most understood more than adults realized. William Clark stood on the bridge of the largest ship ever built by human hands. Hidden in the shadow of Europa for 2 years, the vessel could hold 3 million people. It was one of 500 such ships scattered throughout the solar system, all invisible to Council sensors, thanks to Linda Rodriguez's revolutionary cloaking technology. All ships report ready status, his first officer said. William nodded. Begin approach. Maintain cloak integrity. The massive fleet moved toward Earth, Mars, and Europa, everywhere humans lived in the solar system. Their mission: extract 70% of the human population in a single night. On Earth's surface, Linda Rodriguez made final adjustments to the planetary cloak network. She had designed the technology that would hide the greatest migration in human history. Transport hubs all green, her assistant reported. Underground railway systems converted to evacuation tunnels are operational. Shuttle pads disguised as regular buildings are active. Linda took a deep breath. Activate the planetary distortion field. A subtle shift rippled through Earth's atmosphere, invisible to the naked eye, but designed to scramble any detailed scans from Council ships. From orbit, it would appear as normal atmospheric activity. Across the planet, hidden doors opened in ordinary-looking buildings. People filed silently into underground tunnels and transport hubs. Neighbors helped elderly residents. Parents carried sleeping children. There were no announcements, no public alerts. Everyone had been prepared through the secret communication network over the past 3 years. In space, William's fleet positioned ships in the shadow of mountains, oceans, and city light pollution, anywhere they could hide from Council observers. Shuttles began ferrying people up from the surface in carefully timed waves. Council patrol approaching Sector 4, reported the sensor officer. Hold position, William ordered. Let it pass. The alien vessel moved through its routine patrol, its sensors detecting nothing unusual thanks to the distortion field. The Council remained confident that humans were simply accepting their new reality. On Mars, a similar evacuation unfolded. The human colonies, supposedly housing 2 million people, would be nearly empty by morning. Inside the Council administration station, Greg Martins worked quickly. As the human janitor, he had one final mission. He planted special devices throughout the station. Not bombs, but advanced data transmitters. Each one would continue sending false information to Council systems, making it appear that human activities remained normal. "Excuse me," a Council official said, startling Greg. "Are you authorized for this section?" Greg bowed his head submissively. "Yes, sir." Cleaning schedule. He held up his work order. The official barely glanced at it. "Be quick about it." "Of course, sir." Greg kept his eyes down until the alien left. Then he placed the final device and headed toward his escape pod. In the White House, President Harris received updates from around the world. Evacuation progress at 62%, her aide reported. All proceeding according to plan. John Miller looked at the time. 4 hours until the Council expects our formal response. "They'll get it," Elizabeth said. "Right on schedule." As dawn broke over Asia, the first continent was already emptied of most of its human inhabitants. The people who remained, volunteers all, went about their normal routines. They opened shops, drove cars, maintained the illusion of business as usual. In orbit, Admiral Kirpat prepared his Council enforcement fleet. "The humans seem quiet," he told his second-in-command. "No unusual activity detected. They know resistance is futile. the second replied. Their primitive emotions have given way to logic. The admiral nodded, satisfied. Prepare to receive their formal surrender. Then we'll begin installing the permanent oversight regime. Neither officer noticed the occasional flicker in their sensor readings, brief shadows that might have revealed the truth. Had they been looking more carefully, they might have seen the greatest vanishing act in galactic history unfolding right before their eyes. By the time the Council realized what had happened, it would be too late. 2 years passed since the night humanity disappeared. The Council believed they had successfully placed humans under their control. Their oversight stations monitored human activities across the solar system. Everything seemed normal. Earth's cities functioned. Mars colonies operated. Ships moved between planets on approved schedules. But it was all an illusion. Ryan Phillips walked through Chicago's streets, nodding to fellow stay-behinds. The 30% of humanity who had volunteered to remain. They maintained the appearance of normal life, while most of their species built a new civilization beyond Council reach. Ryan entered an ordinary office building and took the elevator to the basement. He placed his hand on a hidden scanner. A wall slid open, revealing a secret command center. "Status report," he asked. Michelle Baker looked up from her console. She served as the covert liaison between departed humans and those who stayed behind. "The Alliance grows stronger each day," she said. "Our people have established 16 major habitats in unexplored space. The new ships are faster than anything the Council has." Ryan smiled. The Council thought they were monitoring all human activities. They had no idea that the humans they watched were just a skeleton crew, maintaining an elaborate deception. On the other side of the galaxy, in a hidden pocket of space, the real story of humanity unfolded. Massive space habitats housed billions. New planets were being explored. Freed from Council restrictions, human innovation exploded. But something else was happening, something that would change everything. In the Council's Grand Chamber, Supreme Counselor Ekleth called an emergency session. The gray-skinned alien's tentacles twisted with anxiety as the 12 representatives gathered. "The Void Swarm has broken through our defenses in the Cygnus sector," he announced. 3 more Council worlds have gone dark. Fear rippled through the chamber. For decades, the Council had hidden the truth from younger species. A hive-mind enemy consumed stars at the galaxy's edge. The Council had been losing the silent war for centuries. "The containment strategy has failed," one member said. "We must deploy our final option," another suggested. Ekleth nodded grimly. "The humans. Their unpredictable nature and adaptability make them ideal frontline fighters." Council Elder Trovok spoke up. "We should have told them the truth from the beginning. Asked for their help as equals." "Too late for regrets," Ekleth said. "Prepare the human deployment plan." In Chicago's command center, Ryan received an urgent message. Council ships were approaching Earth in unusual numbers. "They're coming to speak with President Harris," Michelle reported. "Something big has happened." Hours later, Ryan watched from a hidden camera as Supreme Counselor Ekleth himself met with Earth's leadership. For the first time, the Council revealed the truth about the Void Swarm. They showed images of destroyed worlds. Stars collapsed into empty darkness. "We need humanity's help," Ekleth said. "Your species possesses unique qualities that may be effective against the swarm. We offer full partnership, all restrictions lifted, all technology shared." President Harris maintained a perfect poker face. "This is unexpected, Supreme Counselor, but I'm afraid it's too late." "Too late?" Ekleth's translator couldn't quite capture his confusion. "Let me show you something." The president nodded to an aide, who activated a wall screen. It showed Earth's population statistics. Where the Council believed 8 billion humans lived on Earth, the true number was just under 2 billion. "I don't understand," Ekleth said. 2 years ago, when you threatened us with containment, we made a choice." The president's voice was calm. "Humanity walked away. Impossible. Our sensors would have detected. Your sensors saw what we wanted them to see. In the hidden command center, Ryan watched the alien leader's composure crumble as the truth sank in. The Council had lost their secret weapon before they could even use it. Where did they go? Ekleth demanded. Beyond your reach, President Harris said simply. As the Council delegation left Earth in disarray, Ryan received another message from deep space. Michelle read it and smiled. The Alliance fleet is ready, she said. Phase 2 can begin. Ryan nodded. The Council thought losing humanity was their greatest disaster. They had no idea what was coming next. The Council's grand meeting hall had never seemed so empty. Half the seats remained vacant, representatives of worlds already lost to the Void Swarm. The remaining Council members watched with grim faces as reports showed more systems falling each day. Our fleets are retreating from the Orion sector, a military officer reported. 3 more planets evacuated. Supreme Counselor Ekleth looked older than he had just months ago. How much time do we have? At current rates of swarm advancement, the Council core worlds will be reached in less than 1 standard year. Silence fell over the room. After 10,000 years of dominance, the Galactic Council faced extinction. The humans, someone finally said. We must find where they went. Force them to help us. Council Elder Travok shook his ancient head. Force? You still don't understand humans. That is why we lost them. The chamber doors opened. A junior officer hurried in and whispered to Ekleth. The Supreme Counselor's eyes widened. We have a visitor, he announced. A human. Council emissary Vixene entered the human solar system with a small diplomatic vessel. Her mission, to beg for help from the species her people had tried to control. Her ship approached Earth with caution. Unusual energy readings ahead, her pilot reported. Vixna moved to the viewport. What she saw made no sense. Hundreds of ships surrounded Earth, ships of designs she had never seen before. They weren't just human vessels. Some belonged to the Frill, others to the Durrani, more to the Xhaka. Impossible, she whispered. These were all species classified as developing by the Council, species kept isolated from each other under Council protocols. Her communication system activated. A human face appeared on screen. Council vessel, this is Frank Howard, commander of the Free Alliance fleet. State your purpose. Vixena struggled to maintain her diplomatic composure. I seek audience with Earth's leadership regarding the Void Swarm threat. Proceed to coordinates being transmitted. Follow exactly the prescribed path. As her ship moved through the massive fleet, Vixna counted at least 15 different species working together on the vessels they passed. All species the Council had kept separate, all now united. In a vast space station orbiting Mars, human President Harris received the Council emissary. Beside her stood Nicole Grant, the diplomat who had accomplished what the Council thought impossible. Welcome to Alliance space, President Harris said without warmth. Alliance? Vixna repeated. Nicole Grant stepped forward. The Free Alliance of Independent Species. 15 former Council developing species united as equals. How? Vixna couldn't hide her shock. The Council protocols prevent contact between developing worlds. The Council's protocols, Nicole corrected with a slight smile. Not ours. The truth dawned on Vixna slowly. As humans evacuated their worlds, they hadn't just disappeared. They had reached out to other controlled species, shared their technology, offered real partnership instead of patronizing oversight. While you watched us through your monitoring stations, we were making friends, President Harris explained. Your greatest mistake wasn't underestimating human technology. It was dismissing human empathy as a weakness. The ability to form genuine connections, Nicole added, to see other species as equals rather than tools. Vixna's professional facade finally cracked. The Void Swarm has broken through our inner defenses. Council worlds are falling. We need your help. We know about the swarm, President Harris said. In fact, we've already engaged them. She activated a holographic display showing battle reports. The Free Alliance had already halted swarm advances in 3 sectors. How? Vixna asked, stunned. The Council's best minds have failed for centuries. Because you approached it as individuals. 15 species working together found solutions none could discover alone. Nichols' expression softened slightly. We never wanted dominance. Emissary. Just true cooperation. Vixna looked at the humans before her, finally understanding. The Council had studied human wars and conflicts for years, cataloging their capacity for violence. But they had completely missed humanity's greatest strength, the ability to build bridges where others built walls. Will you help us? She asked simply. President Harris and Nichol exchanged glances. The Alliance Council will consider your request. But know this, if we help the Council, it will never be the same again. 10 years had passed since humanity walked away from the Council. Now they returned to Council space not as subjects, but as saviors. Admiral Eric Johnson stood on the bridge of the Alliance flagship Horizon. Around his vessel, 5,000 ships from 17 different species moved in perfect coordination. Each ship carried weapons and defenses developed through shared knowledge. Each crew mixed species who had learned to work together, valuing their differences. Approaching Council defensive line, his first officer reported. Eric nodded. Open communication with all Council vessels. On the main screen appeared Council Chairman Zelvek. Once a junior member, he had risen to leadership as older members fell to despair or the advancing swarm. Alliance fleet has arrived as promised, Eric said. We're transmitting battle plans now. Zelvek's expression showed both relief and discomfort. For a species that had ruled the galaxy for millennia, accepting help from those they once controlled wasn't easy. The Council fleet will follow your lead, Admiral, he said formally. Near the system's edge, the Void Swarm approached. Not ships in the traditional sense, but living darkness that consumed all matter and energy it touched. Sensors showed hundreds of star systems already devoured, their light extinguished forever. Sophia Lee, the Alliance tactical officer, moved to Eric's side. Her battle strategy, combining Council defensive technology with Alliance innovations, was about to face its greatest test. All ships in position, she reported. Ready on your command. Eric took a deep breath. Begin Operation Daybreak. Across the massive fleet, ships activated special devices developed by Alliance scientists. They didn't attack the swarm directly. Instead, they created a complex web of energy fields between themselves, forming patterns impossible for any single species to have conceived. On Council worlds, people watched their screens with desperate hope. Many had lost faith in their leaders as the swarm advanced relentlessly year after year. Now they witnessed something unprecedented, ships of species they barely recognized fighting to save them. The battle lasted 3 days. The swarm adapted to each Alliance tactic, but the Alliance adapted faster. When one approach failed, 3 new ones took its place. When swarm entities broke through in one sector, Alliance ships were already waiting with a different defense. This was the power of true cooperation, not the forced hierarchy the Council had maintained, but genuine partnership where each species contributed equally. When it ended, the Void Swarm had been pushed back for the first time in recorded history, not destroyed completely, but contained in a way the Council had never achieved. 1 week later, Eric Johnson stood in the Grand Council chamber. The circular room once housed representatives from 12 dominant species. Now it had been redesigned with 60 seats of equal size, one for each spacefaring species in the galaxy. Council Chairman Zelvek approached Eric with ceremonial slowness. The Council owes the Alliance a debt we cannot repay, he said. You saved us when you had every reason to let us fall. Eric looked around the chamber. The Alliance doesn't seek debts or gratitude. We seek a new beginning. A galaxy where advancement isn't controlled by a few, but shared by all. Zelvek nodded slowly. The old Council is gone. What you see today is the beginning of the Galactic Union. No species above others. All voices equal. It was the change humans had wanted from the beginning. Not to rule, but to end rule itself. That evening, Eric met with Zelvek in a small garden overlooking the capital city. Away from the formal ceremonies, they spoke more openly. "Why did you help us?" Zelvek asked. "After what the council did, trying to control humanity, you could have let us face the swarm alone." Eric watched the sunset paint the alien sky with colors humans had never evolved to fully appreciate. Another reminder of how different species saw the universe in unique ways. "Humans have a saying," he replied. "Rising tides lift all boats." "I don't understand." Eric smiled. "It means we're stronger together than apart. The council's mistake wasn't wanting stability. It was believing stability comes from control. True stability comes from cooperation." Zelvek considered this. "The council always feared humanity's emotions would make you dangerous." "We are dangerous," Eric said, "but not in the way you thought. Our greatest weapon was never our anger or our technology. It was our ability to see beyond differences and build genuine connections." As night fell on a galaxy forever changed, Eric thought about the long journey that had brought them here. Humans had indeed walked away from the council, but they had walked towards something better. A future where no species stood alone.